the moon and its magnificent base. We have a lot to explore. Welcome to the largest, and it's not even a close contest, sub-area in Genshin Impact. Yes, the playable area isn't all that big, but the map itself? I actually measured it, and the moon map is basically the size of the entire Teyvat map as of version 6.7. Absolutely bonkers. But only like 3% of it is explorable. That number is upsetting. We're going to explore the other 97%. Ah, what beautiful indigo. Everywhere I look, nothing but indigo ripples and white text. Okay, yeah, this is a problem. The screen only goes away for a second when opening and closing an interface. Using photo mode keeps it at bay until exiting. Thank goodness for the latter. But it still means I have to navigate this map virtually blind. This map that is the size of Teyvat, all while staring at and having seared into my retinas this indigo void and white text. What a wonderful challenge! You think you can annoy me out of exploring out of bounds, Genshin? Don't underestimate my tenacity. If the void goes away when photo mode is open, then I just need a way to keep it open. Unfortunately, photo mode prevents the player from moving. Thus, I need a way to move with photo mode open. By combining the special analysis zoom lens, camera, and Charlotte, we have our very own lunar rover. I think it's quite a tasteful design. Wouldn't you agree? Alright, confession time. Hello, future Moosashi here, the one who fully filmed and edited this video before realizing he'd made a silly mistake. So there's actually a way to get rid of the Archaeoloon screen completely. In fact, the whole reason it is there in the first place is because I made a mistake. But please forgive me, I'm not about to run all across a map the size of Teyvat to re-record stuff. Let's instead enjoy the original narrative that involved a Torre turning Charlotte into a lunar rover to bypass Archaeoloon energy. And really, you won't be seeing anything less because I got some pretty cool shots using just photo mode. Rover Charlotte, go now to the moon base on the dark side. Positioned in the center of the map and stretching far north and south to create a perfect divide between the bright and dark side is a dam. I should probably mention that, at least when taking the map of the moon at face value, the moon is flat. Crossing this center point will take us to the awe-inspiring brilliance of the dark side. That is just way too cool. Do you like whiplash? Because I'm tearing this facade down. This is the real moon base, a monotone, clay-like cityscape. This true form is revealed upon moving far enough away from the dark side center that all the pretty lights unload. Without doubt, I've never explored a more outlandish place in Genshin Impact. Being here feels just plain weird. It's not unexpected that the dark side is like this. After all, why bother detailing a portion of a map half the size of Teyvat if the player only ever plays in 1.5% of it? Even the areas on the east, just beyond the dam, that look far more detailed are simple light tricks. The spinning tower structures are the most detailed of the clay buildings, but even they are extraordinarily simplistic. That goes for everything else this way as well. Looks very cool regardless, but wow, does being up close shatter the majesty that is this. My destination is the western border of the moon. To get there, we need to ditch the clay base by moving back towards the center of the dark side, where terrain is more stable and there aren't random bits without collision. It goes without saying that the scale of everything on the moon is absurd, to the point it actually messes with depth perception. With the lighting loading back in and everything mostly dark, What a paradoxical phrase. The confusion only worsens. It's honestly a miracle I managed to navigate all this while virtually blind, that I didn't somehow waltz into a hole and fall off the map. But that miracle means I, and by extension you, get to experience the pretty lights up close. And so that you don't suffer the same fate as my poor eyes while recording this at night in a dark room, after having navigated pitch black terrain for a very long time, I have darkened the pretty, but insanely bright and quite dazzling, lights for your viewing pleasure. The mixing colors truly is pretty, but if I turn around at this point, it's a literal flashbang. We now stand atop one of the many large, overhanging structures surrounding the center of the dark side. Needless to say, it's a view worthy of the struggle getting here. Time to hit the trail westward. By following along to the west, just south of this high-speed transit station line on the map, for a very long time, we eventually arrive at another dam. My goal lies beyond it. Time to climb. For a very long time does not fit this mammoth task. For an extraordinarily lengthy time is more apt a descriptor. By the time I reached the top, I was a nervous wreck gripping my controller like a vice. One misinput in the countless times I had to press L1 plus circle on my controller to activate the wind gadget, and I would have been sent plummeting in a plunge attack, my fate sealed to start the entire climb over. Maybe I should have used keyboard and mouse. Anyways, the top of the dam, and the westernmost limit of the moon. What a view. That's the dark side we just crossed. Like the dam at the map's center, the west dam also extends far north and south. I attempted to reach the north edge, but the whole structure unloads before getting there. Time for a little mystery. Floating to the west of this dam, meaning that the dam isn't actually the westernmost limit of the moon, is this tiny object. From far away, I initially assumed it was the spaceship we're in before landing on the moon. This is far enough away from the map that they could have stored it, and maybe it's inside of a skybox sphere, not visible from outside. However, getting closer reveals the shape. That is discernibly not the spaceship. That is... I'm not sure. If anyone has an inkling on what this might be, if even a location used on the moon or during its world quest, please let me know in the comments. It being a random, singular object floating out in nothingness leads me to believe it is used in a cutscene where the rest of the screen is rendered black, as Genshin has been doing this a lot since Natlan. And that is the dark side of the moon. But what about the bright side? Anything worth seeing over there? Starting at the Eye of Ibn Bellum and heading south-southeast, the first find is cool. That there may look like an incoherent blob, but as Rover Charlotte moves closer, its more detailed form reveals itself as a crashed ship. I immediately assumed this had to be the wreckage of the ship that brought us here, the one that begins exploding above the moon. That was before I finished the moon quest and learned that one is floating near the space station, somehow in surprisingly good shape. They are of the same make and model, meaning they're both from the launch pad in Nod Cry. You can briefly see this ship during the flying sequence out of the dark side. Where to next? How about that tower? Pretty cool shot, huh? Now, this is interesting. That particular landmark with a bronze ring floating above it is the same model as a high-speed transit station. one of the teleport waypoint models used on the moon. My current location is here, far out of bounds. I am sure it means nothing, but it is enough to make one ponder if, perhaps, something was planned to go here. While I saw other objects similar to high-speed transit stations, this is the only one that had the floating bronze ring. Though, with how big the map is, it's possible more identical matches are out there. Continuing southeast, I started to ignore towers in favor of simply pushing towards the map's edge. Finally, I've reached the east edge of the map. Screen. The terrain continues past this, though layering issues are starting to pop up. We're probably close to the terrain's edge, too. Climbing the tower here may just confirm that. Betting the glowy area is the edge. After many more minutes of sprinting east, it is, in fact, the eastern shoreline of the moon. Had they also put a dam here, it'd complete the illusion of the map being a sphere. From the eastern shoreline to the northern shoreline, we are now north-northeast of the Moontide Sea, far out of bounds at the northernmost edge of the map. Whisked away to the south, in the bubble pool, I attempted to hitch a ride on one of these creatures. Sadly, one cannot stand atop them. Let's not forget beneath the map, which in certain areas allows one to see the various locations stored far underground, such as the flipped forest, or even above the map, where things like the veil around Ungian Circle can unload while the place itself remains. Kinda looks cooler this way. And there's likely still so much to see. The map is that big. But I've only one final thing to show you. The destruction of Teyvat. Yes, you heard correctly. It's time to make good on my tangent from a few videos ago. In revenge for how they sidelined Miss Nilou in the latest Archon quest, the Traveler will now Thanos snap that wretched world from existence. Where's Nilou? Don't be silly. Right here in my party. Oh god. Undo! Undo! Control Z! Control Z! That's a rather intense skybox change, huh? This is Moosashi, signing off. Till next time.